Let me say something that I've never said before in 40 years of broadcasting about my personal politics. I voted twice for Donald Trump because I thought him to be the less imperfect of two candidates. I am at heart a libertarian in the sense that I believe, as my grandfather once told me, quote, "In this country, you have the right to be left alone." Given the binary choice in the voting booth, I felt Donald Trump was closer to our constitutional foundation and the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness than either of his 2016 or 2020 Democratic opponents. I also believed Donald Trump was careless and responsible himself for many of his political troubles. But I'm deeply angry and resentful of anybody who suggests that I or anybody else who made that same binary choice in a voting booth should be labeled by today's president a semi-fascist. I've had good history teachers throughout my life. I know exactly what fascism is. At its most basic level, fascism embodies a consolidation of political power. It attempts to limit political opposition, and it mandates how and what private industry can produce. Given what's happening in our country today, the union of big tech with centralized government, the shadow banning of conservative opposition, the outright banning of those who question the efficacy of vaccine mandates, the banning of even a former U.S. president from speaking his voice on some platforms, all that is technically much closer to fascism than anything Donald Trump did. Another common trait of fascism is the fifth column, the agent provocateur, the person who infiltrates the opposition party, who wreaks havoc to make it appear the opposition is bent on threats, violence, and illegality. So when you see reports of the Nazi flag seen at some Governor Ron DeSantis or some other Republican rally, question it. Take nothing at face value. And finally, there is an informal law of rhetoric known as Godwin's Law. It posits that the first person in an argument who invokes history's worst episode, Nazism or fascism, as the equivalent to some present-day conflict, well, that person loses the argument. President Biden, you've lost the argument.